I'm Adam Meyer of Mill City Lutherie in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we've got another real special one here. It's a 1940 Martin D18. Get a closer look at this later in the video. This came in complaints of the action buzzing. There were problems. It was just too low. Closer inspection, I found out that we got bridges coming off the top. The nut slots are too low. Frets are worn out, and there's too much relief in the neck. So I call it kind of like a partial restore. I'm not going to be refinishing or anything. This doesn't need a neck reset, but we're going to be doing quite a bit of work on this. So let's get a closer look at this one. Get a quick little kind of glamour shot of this. Then we'll get into the details about it. First thing that I noticed, we've got the bridge coming loose. It's a little hard to pick up on my camera here, but you can see the feeler gauge. I can easily slip this through the back. Now the top is not bellying a dangerous amount. It looks pretty normal for something that's, you know, about 80 years old. So we don't have anything to worry about there inside, but I'll inspect anyways. We do have, there was some open string buzz, so obviously the nut needs to be replaced, but there's also too much relief. And looking at the frets, there's some wear here. They're pretty small. Ideally, the idea is when I pull these frets, I'll just level out the fingerboard a little bit. Won't need much. It was at 10 thousandths when the string tension was on, but finding that the bridge was coming loose, I immediately slacked the strings. Don't want to have anything disastrous happen like the bridge coming loose. So I'll be replacing the saddle as well. And once all that's done, it's gonna play great. So time to get to work. Isn't always easy to see looking this way. So the separation is, you know, a little more than paper thin. I'm using a 4 thousandths feeler gauge here, and I can get most of the way to the bridge pins. I'm probably about that far there. Let's see. Yeah, I'm getting close to those bridge pins. Already have strings off and everything because I don't want to run the risk of this giving way. So I'm going to try and see if I can get this saddle yanked out of here. Then I'm going to use my heat blanket to warm this up and very gently try and get this taken off. I'll use some masking tape or whatever I have around here to protect the top to make sure that when I'm pushing my spatula underneath here that I'm not scratching the top. Granted, this is really nice, but I don't want to add any scratches to this or anything. Hopefully this isn't glued in. They often are. It's just enough for me to grab here. There we go. Nope. Wasn't glued in, just really tight. Pre-war Martin, so we're using hide glue. It comes in these little crystals. Have a little heating pot off to the side. Just mix a little batch because I don't use hide glue all that often. So let's get underway. Once again, somebody trying to get away with shimming nuts. It's a pre-war Martin. That's not cool. Time to prep this fingerboard for new frets. I'm just going to skim over the top with some fine grit sandpaper. This has been refretted before. This little got some kind of crusty super glue buildup along the fret slots here, so I will likely just follow through with super glue again. I'll test out the first few frets, and if they need a little extra something, I'll use that. But if they go in nice, I might take this back to using hide glue. But we'll see on that. One thing to note, we got some pretty good divots worn into first few positions here on the fingerboard. You do not sand those out. That would make this fingerboard ridiculously thin. If you have a problem with that, trim your fingernails before you play. That's what it's from. So we're not taking those out. This fingerboard, this neck is in good condition. I'm just going to clean it up with a light skimming of sandpaper, and that will be it. The vintage style Martin nut, what they did is the neck would come out, level. Then once you get to the edge of where the fingerboard is, it angles down. Modern guitars, the neck wood comes out and it's level till the back side of the nut. So if you notice here, I have this flipped upside down. Gotta make sure we've got this angled bottom. Flip it like that. Make sure that it's nice and solid in there. No shims, everything needs to fit just right. This slides in perfectly. It's neither tight nor loose. Rests nice and flat on the bottom. Hold it there in place with my thumb. You see that? So from there, I'm now going to score the bottom so I know how much to take off, because it's, I need to shorten it up, and I'll trim the top. But the fit, getting it fit to the neck, is very important. That's a very fundamental part of lutherie. Non-adjustable truss rod, so I went ahead and made the nut ahead of the time before doing the fret dress, because I want to string it up and measure how much this neck is flexing. So I use the relief gauge, and checking this here, we're at about a 7, just a little touch more than ideal. But I'm also measuring the saddle height up at the octave, and the bass side is definitely too low. Treble side is pretty close, so we'll not be throwing out the saddle, but when I make a new one, I'm going to get real close on the height with the treble side and be a little bit taller on the bass side so I can get that nice standard action on this. It is not the type of saddle, this vintage style that Martin did. You're not able to shim them. You gotta, if it's too low, you gotta make a new saddle. So we've gone through. Time to take strings off, measure the relief again, and if it flexes down where I'm right around that 1/2000 forward relief, I know I can do it just real nice, simple fret dress, and we'll get that perfect. I'm going for like in the 4 to 5 thousandths relief on this, so hopefully we have just that perfect amount of flex. Take a look at that. It's at 7 before, and without strings on, we are at 2. I really like working on these old Martins with the non-adjustable neck. I don't know how they came up with it, but they always flex that perfect 5 thousandths. There might be a rare instance where they flex more or less than that, but the overwhelming majority, they have that perfect 5 thousandths. So like I said before, ideally you want to be in that 4 to 5 thousandths with relief on this, and 7 minus 2, you got your 5, so that means I can just have this sitting on my workbench. We're going with the vintage size frets, so very, very light fret dress, doing as little fret leveling as possible. And just go through, get it all crowned up nice and everything. New saddle, and we'll be done. Very, very lightly, not pressing down, just gliding across, because you're not supporting the neck or anything. Just gliding on top. Your saddle, got a piece of bone here. Want it to be I have it maybe just a touch more snug than if this was a modern style saddle slot where it had the rounded ends. But I'll also just add like a little dot of glue at both ends so it doesn't fall out during a string change. But you've got it fit nice. It doesn't have to be pressed in super hard. I can pull it out rather easily. And I'm just going to trace the original saddle, and especially the base side, I'm going to make it a little taller. I'm going to use one of my radius gauges and trace that out. Just trim the top off. Not much to it. Just drop there, drop there. Make sure that, there we go. And I contoured to fit along the sides, both sides of the saddle slot here where it rounds up as well. So make sure that we've got that all rounded together again, or evened out. 1940 Martin D18. This is just a beautiful guitar, a very well-loved guitar. It's obviously been played quite a bit. It's had some work done on it. The work that has been done has been quality work. Lucky enough that we can do the bridge reglue on this, and the top is still maintaining nice and flat. That's something that with these really old Martins, they have such a small bridge plate that it's not having to take that out in order to get the top flattened out for the bridge to be reglued is like, you know, not that I want to decline any work, but on a guitar like this, if you can avoid things like that, that's a plus. This has obviously been refretted probably 3 or 4 times, but you know, they've been done well. We've got plenty of wood there. There are some marks. I'm not going to go in and sand down this neck too much just to kind of make things look all pretty. I can refret it and have it play great with doing all those extra steps. You want to keep that original shape. If you level down that fingerboard too much, it's going to start feeling different. So it's better just to leave it as is, just like with the little wear marks from your fingernails. So the other thing is, like something like this, I'm always going to try and stick to using era correct glue. This would have had wood or hide glue, not to like a modern tight bond. Either would work fine. No, you cannot hear a difference in what type of glue is used. That's not a real thing. But just try to keep it preserved. It's from that era. Why not just use the era correct glue? It's been refretted a bunch of times. Those were already super glued in. It's not going to matter if I use hide glue or whatever on this. I just use super glue again. Got to get it playing really well. You're not going to be able to hear the difference in a change in glue. So yeah, hope you enjoy this video. This was a real pleasure to work on. One other final note: if you ever handle one of these, they feel really lightweight compared to a modern guitar. It's always each time I'd pull this out of the guitar case to work on it, was like, man, it's just really lightweight. But it's held up since 1940, which is amazing. So any questions or comments, you can always leave it below the video, or you can contact me directly. You can find that information in the About section of my channel, and we'll see you next time.